Radnor Zoning Hearing Board meeting. Would you please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? The first item on the first appeal on the agenda is Appeal 3113. The applicant, Radnor Rockhill LLC, has asked for an additional extension of time. Is a representative here?
Good evening. I'm George Brosman. I represent the applicant. Dave Sanders, the engineer, is here with me. This is a companion piece to the second item on the agenda. This is the zoning board approvals that were granted for the senior living facility on Eagle Road. It's going to be called Oak Hill. And since we got the last extension, substantial progress has been made. Since the last time, the applicant has now received the PennDOT highway occupancy permit, which we had been waiting for, and the sewer planning module. That allowed the applicant to very recently record the plans for the project and post a very substantial financial security with the township for this project. The applicant is now working with the township on the grading permit, and they're working on the building permit application. So we think we're very close, but we are seeking further 6-month extensions for this application and the next.
Okay, so for the record, since I didn't read the second one, it's also it's covering appeal number 3113 and 3148. Both want the same extension. It would be until December 31st, 2025. Is that right?
Yes, that's right, Mr. Lord.
Any questions from the board? Gus, we don't need a motion, right? We just
No, that's Chairman, you can grant.
So this is approved for a extension for 6 months until December 31st regarding both 3113 and 3148.
Thank you. Good night.
So the next item on the agenda is Appeal 3221. The applicant, Catherine and Patrick Buckley, property located at 306 Chamonix Road and split zoned R1 and R2 residential. The applicant seeks a variance from section 380 15F in the R1 district and or 280 F in the R2 district related to the maximum impervious coverage to add 422 square feet of impervious coverage to the site. The applicant further requests such other relief which may be required in conformity with the exhibits and testimony presented.
Evening, Nick Cornelia representing the applicant. Possibly, yeah.
Raise your right hand to swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth.
Yes.
And your name is one Catherine Buckley.
Patrick Buckley. So as stated in the application, this is a split zone district. It's located on Chamonix. It's split zone R1 on this side and R2 on this side. Interestingly, the gross lot area is slightly less than 20,000 square feet. That nonconformity doesn't comply with both the R1 and the R2 district, which kind of brings us to the hardship being that they have an undersized lot. It's in a split zone district. It doesn't comply with either the R1, requirement of 1 acre, which is why you have a 15% impervious coverage requirement in R1. And then R2 requires 20,000 square feet, and it's 19,000 square feet plus. If you look at the zoning map, here's the Radnor Township zoning map. 306 is the subject property. The light green portion is the area zoned R2. The yellow portion is the area zoned R1,
Referring to what, A6?
A6. As you can see, just by this zoning map, that is very consistent with the R2 area as far as size is concerned, and we'll see that better on the aerial. And you see the R1 areas are substantially larger than this particular lot. So again, you know, the hardship is the fact that we have a split zone, we have an undersized lot as it stands, and we're only increasing it by 439 square feet, and the applicant will comply with all the stormwater management requirements from the township. So Patrick? Yep. You have it there?
Yes. Okay.
So Patrick, you're the owner of the lot parcel with your wife?
Yes, that's correct.
And who else lives there with you?
Our 3 children.
And I'm showing you what's been marked as A2, and that's the deed to the property.
That's correct.
And you purchased the property in 2011.
That's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
they were.
We were.
Yeah, they were. And your proposal, as indicated here on A8, is the existing pool to be removed, a new pool to be constructed in actually less impervious area than the existing pool, correct? Remember, you have to respond. Yes.
That's right. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's correct.
All right. And then a deck area for the pool, and then a 2-story garage.
That's correct. Yep.
Currently, do you have a garage?
We do. It's on the bottom level of our house. Our house is built in the 1920s, and unfortunately is not usable for vehicles of this size of today. So
You have a height issue? And
we do. Yeah. So the current height is about 6 feet 5 inches. So unable to pull any of our cars in at this point. Which, given some of the recent theft issues and other things going on around her, it would be nice to be able to park one of our cars inside of a garage.
Okay, I'm showing you what's been marked as A3, and this is an aerial of the property.
Yes, that's correct.
And your house is indicated here, correct?
Yes, that's right.
On Shimoni, and Fenimore Lane is like a private street, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, 4 homes are utilizing that lane.
Okay, and then to the south of your property are similar zone R2 properties, correct?
Yes, that's right.
And they're very similar to your house. And
They
the
are.
size of your house and the size of your lot.
Correct.
As well as homes on the same side of you going down Fenimore Lane.
Going down Fenimore Lane. Yes, that's right.
Now, as we get to the R1 area, which is over here across Shimoni from you and on the, I guess that would be the north side of Fenimore, are the lots larger and the homes bigger?
Yes, as you start to move towards down Shimoni Road, down towards Fenimore Woods, the lots increase greatly in size. So
Showing you what's been marked as A5. Again, this is more of a close-up, again, showing your home
yes,
with the star on it, and across the street, a home that's zoned R1, across Fenimore, another home zoned R1, another home zoned R1 on
Correct.
Fenimore Lane,
Yep.
on the north side of Fenimore, and then the R2 zoned homes south of Fenimore Lane.
yes, that's right.
Showing you what's been marked as A4. Is that the front of your home?
Yes, it is.
A6, as I described in the opening, that is the zoning map for Radnor Township,
That's correct, yep.
and the outlined area is your property,
Yes, it is.
and you see the split zone indicated.
Yep, the
There is
R1, R2, that's right.
And what is the size of your lot? It's less than 20,000.
It is, yeah, we're about 19,000, trying to see where it is exactly. 19,1,
19,313.
yes, that's right, yep,
12 plus 73.
correct.
And actually, what you're proposing would comply with the R2 zoning district.
Yes, it
correct?
would,
You're less than 30%.
correct.
And I believe that we did a calculation that if this was zoned R2 and the 30% requirement, that you're like 27 point some percent.
That's right.
For the
Yes.
entire lot, okay. Now, looking at the site plan, again, as we described, the existing pool to be removed?
Yes.
Correct?
That's right.
These two-story additions, you're not proposing to build them?
No,
correct?
we're not. This is already existing. This was a addition that we made back in 2016, and we're utilizing the same engineers and same plans to build onto it. So
When was the house built?
sometime in the 1920s, 1927, I believe.
And so you're proposing a two-story garage, as you described?
That's right. Yep.
And then just replacing the existing pool?
Correct.
And then,
The existing pool is 60 years old, so it's at the end of its useful life, and we need to make a renovation if we're going to keep it.
okay. And I believe, as we stated in my notes here, the total impervious coverage that you're going to have is 5,425, which is 27.8%
Yes.
of the gross lot area of your lot.
Correct.
Again, and that's less than what the R2 requirement would be.
Yes.
Is your home, the addition itself and the garage addition, what kind of facade will it be?
Yeah, we're gonna match our existing home. Obviously, it's a 1920 look to it, so we'll be using brick and stone so that it blends seamlessly with the rest of the house.
Okay, that's all I have. Kathy, did he mess up at all? Did he,
Yeah.
did he say anything? Yeah. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I have a quick question. Roughly what percent of the property is on the R1 district and what percent's in the R2?
I believe, here's a line here. Matter of fact, they have it here, okay. On A8, the area on the R1 is 12,200, and you'll notice required is 1 acre, and the area on the R2 is 7,313, and the requirement is 20,000 square feet. Total is 19,513.
Thank you.
And actually, as far as compliance with township requirement, and Kevin, if need be, can confirm this, he would have to comply with the requirement for whatever new impervious he's creating, not the delta, not the difference. It would be the entire coping for the pool, the two-story garage, as well as the patio, even though the delta, the difference is only 400 some square feet. And I think Kevin would agree with that.
Yes, there are some credits that are allowable if you're converting impervious to grass, but anything new, even over top of existing impervious, counts as new for stormwater management.
Did you talk to any of your neighbors about your project?
Kathy,
Yeah.
You're hold on.
Yes, a couple of our neighbors reached out, so anyone that we shared a property line with, we spoke to.
No objections, I'm assuming?
No.
Any public comment? So please come up and identify yourself.
If you raise your hand, I'll swear you in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I so swear.
And your name is?
Darrell Behrman,
And spell?
D-A-R-R-Y-L is the first name. B as in Bravo, E-H-R-M-A-N-N.
Spell all over again, please.
First name is Darrell, D as in David, A-R-R-Y-L. Last name Behrman, B as in Bravo, E-H-R-M-A-N-N. I live at 312 Chamouni Road, which is north of the Buckley property and somewhat downhill from that. And the Buckleys have not reached out to me, but my concern is about runoff due to the new construction. If it's going to come downhill towards my property, I would be concerned. I think that's all I have to say, except that if you, in your wisdom, decide to grant that, I have no further objections.
Just that we would be doing, obviously, stormwater management on the site.
Any other public comment? Seeing none? Can I have a motion, please? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. Exhibits need to be made part of the record, please.
I'll make the motion that Appeal 3221 be approved as described, including all the exhibits. In addition, just affirming that the township codes regarding stormwater management will be abided to.
Second.
Any board discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll call the vote.
Aye. I'm in favor.
Aye.
I'm in favor. It is an unusual lot. I'm in favor of the relief requested.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is Appeal 3227, the appellant Connor and applicants, I should say, Connor and Gabrielle McKenna, property located at 203 Midland Avenue and zoned R3 residential. Applicant seeks a variance from section 280-25B1 of the code to construct an addition that will approach into the side yard setback. In the alternative,
Evening. Nick Canelli representing the applicant. Yeah, all three of them. Again, I don't know if all three are going to testify, but we may as well do it. Yeah, make it easier.
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth.
I do.
And your name is one at a time.
Connor McKenna.
Gabrielle McKenna. And Juliet Kozak. And the architect, it's spelled Koczak. Thank you.
So this is a request for relief from the aggregate. Once again, it's on Midland. Okay, this is a request for relief from the aggregate side yard setback. It complies with the side yard setback on the side where the addition is going to be located, but when you add the aggregate from the other side, that's where it's non-compliant. The house was built before zoning in Radnor Township, somewhere around 1920 or before. You'll notice that the east side of the house, the property line, the house is only 10 feet from the property line. As a result, even though the proposed addition is 20 feet from the property line, the aggregate does not meet the aggregate requirement of 35 feet for both sides. So it would be 30 feet, 2 inches, as opposed to the required 35, which is basically as a result of the nonconformity on the west side of the property. So Connor, if you want to step up here. Connor, showing you A2, that's the deed to the property, correct?
That's correct.
And you purchased the property in July of 2023.
That's correct.
And who currently lives there with you?
My wife, myself, and our 3 children.
And one of the children is young, correct? Or
Yeah, they're all young. So we have a 5-year-old daughter, a 3-year-old son, and an 11-month-old daughter.
when you purchased the house, how many kids did you have?
We only had 2.
Going to show you the aerial, and I believe the board should have a colored copy of this, but just to orient everyone, Lancaster Avenue up here to the north, correct?
That's correct.
And then Luella Avenue coming down, middle school located off of Luella Avenue to the west, playing field, gym, middle school itself, correct?
That's correct.
Wayne Commercial District to the north, correct?
That's correct.
Midland Avenue in this area, which dead ends onto the middle school property at one end, and then the other end is St. Catherine's School.
That's correct.
And your property is, if you can point to where your property is located?
2 doors in from Luella, right here.
On the north side, or that would be the north side of Midland.
That's correct.
Showing you what's been marked as A4. And this was the plan that was submitted to HARB.
That's correct.
And actually, you received HARB approval, correct?
We did.
That's news of it. Okay.
Yes.
This is the home,
Yes, that's the current home.
and this just shows the proposed addition,
Mm-hmm.
and then some other photographs of the home, correct?
That's correct.
And where the addition is being located is the side where this chimney is located?
That's correct.
And then these are some of the neighboring homes
That's correct.
on Midland. And actually, several of the homes on Midland have received variances, similar type variances than what you're requesting here this evening. Is that right?
Yes.
To your knowledge?
Mm-hmm.
And again, showing the elevations of the addition. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's correct.
And then just rear renderings, very consistent with the existing structure, correct?
Yes. Yep.
Showing you what's been marked as A4 or A5, and that's the site plan that were describing earlier. Right?
That's correct.
A5?
Yes.
And the addition is located here, the cross-hatched area.
That's correct.
This is a proposed another addition, but you don't need relief for that.
That's correct. That would be building a small mudroom addition on top of an existing impervious space.
Okay. And as we mentioned, you have the one side, the western side of the, eastern side of the property that is 10 feet, or actually, that's the western side of the property. That's
Yeah,
10
that's the
feet.
western side. Correct.
And then the eastern side is 20 feet where the addition would be.
Correct. Yeah, it's 35 feet total right now. We're proposing to take it to 20.
Why are you building the addition?
So we currently have 3 bedrooms on our second floor. So we need to build a 4th bedroom for our newborn who we had after we purchased the property.
And is there any other area that you can place this addition?
This is the safest place that we could put the addition for our lot. If we want to preserve our small backyard for a place for the children to play, as you know, Midland Avenue, particularly in between the 2 schools, gets busy. We're a block off of Lancaster, so our preference would be to have a safe space for our children to play outside.
And showing you A6, and A6, what does that represent?
This is the current backyard,
And A7.
the backyard.
One backyard is out from the house, the other one is from the property line, correct?
That's correct.
And A8 is just kind of, you can just describe what that is.
Yes. So this is the first floor. And so we're proposing to have a family room for the children to play in. They're currently using the dining room as their playroom. So their first floor would become a playroom for the children. And we would also have a small office as well.
Okay. And have you discussed these plans with your neighbors?
Yes, we talked to all of our neighbors on Midland Avenue, and all of them were in favor of it.
Okay, and now, we mentioned there's a chimney there. Is there any significance as to the size of the addition?
Yeah, so the chimney abuts out about 12 and a half inches. So we're going to keep the chimney there, but for the inside of the addition, we're going to have to put up some drywall over it and some other materials. So it's going to basically eat up about 14 inches of the interior space. So we're not getting that full width that we're applying for.
That's all I have at this time.
I notice on your drawings that the AC units are along that wall. Where are they going to be relocated to?
So I believe we would either put them to the right-hand side, since I believe that we would, or the back, yeah.
The right-hand side.
The back side, yeah. We would put them in the back.
Thank you.
So you would not put them in between the addition and the property line?
That's correct.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has there been any, you said there's discussion with your neighbors regarding this, and what has the feedback been regarding this proposition?
So the neighbor that's most impacted, they told us that they think that the addition looks beautiful, and they were supportive.
Okay. And any other neighbors by chance, or was it just the one other?
And then we talked to the neighbor on the other side. They gave similar feedback. They thought that it looked great. Asked if they could help in any way, and then we talked to our neighbors across the street as well, and they were also in favor of it.
Okay. And then regarding when requesting a variance, one thing we do have to ensure of is, and ask is, what consideration has been given for this being the minimum relief necessary?
Yeah, so, yeah.
Hi, I'm Juliette. I'm the architect on the project. So in terms of having a minimal impact, we're 20 feet off the property line for the side yard, so we have the minimum is 15 feet. So it's really just the aggregate that we're looking for relief from. In addition, just architecturally, we're trying to minimize the impact of the structure. As you saw kind of from the historic board application, the addition isn't a full 2-story. It kind of steps down so that it's kind of a little more compact than the existing house. And yeah, we're trying to keep it within the historical context and so that it's not, a big wall up against the neighbor's house.
And Juliet, there was mention of the chimney as a result, which impacts the size of the room?
Yes, so we basically went with the minimum. So interior, we're about a little less than 13 feet for a family room. And then we also have a home office that needs to be enclosed so they can work from home. But with the chimney encroaching into that area, we really are at a very minimal to get a stairway down to the basement. There's currently a stair down to the basement, but it's super dangerous. So we're building a new stair so that in the future, if they wanted to finish the basement, the kids could have a play space down there.
And this 14-foot, 9-inch, that is measured from the outside,
Correct.
So, and also you have block there, so you probably have six-inch block on the, I guess that would be the eastern side of
Correct.
the addition, right?
Yep.
I'm looking at the photograph A. I think that's a 6? Yes, E6. The stone home next door looks close to the property line. Is that also within approximately 10 feet of the line?
If you want to open up this, yep, that one. These two are your,
Push it up, Carl, so you can-
Yeah, so they can see it.
So you're referring to this house?
there you go, Connor.
A6, there's a stone, shows your garage, patio, and a house
This
on
way.
the other
Oh.
side behind a
Yeah, I think that's, behind.
Yes,
Yeah, it's the rectory behind this.
right, but are they also pre-code and sitting close to the, intruding into the property line if it was enforced today? You understand what I'm saying? There's some
Right.
problem.
It's obviously, it clearly appears to be in the rear property line. Is that the St. Martin's Church Rectory? Is that
St. Mary's, I believe.
St. Mary's, I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's also part of the reason why we didn't feel like we wanted to expand out to the rear, is because that building is a fairly large building that's very close to the property line.
Yeah, remember when you talk, you need that. Okay.
I have a pretty, I'm looking at A8, page 2. Can you orient that for me? Sorry. It's an
So,
easy
yeah, why don't
question. Which way is the front of the house on that?
Yes, so this is the front of the house here.
Okay. So
And
this-
then-
the diagram to the right, that's what I'm struggling with.
Oh, sorry, this is the third floor. This isn't relevant to the zoning discussion. That's all within the existing footprint of the building. Sorry about that.
And actually, you had mentioned to me about the third floor, the steps. What can you tell the board about the third
Yes,
floor?
when we started on this project, trying to get an additional bedroom, we had looked at doing it to the, adding a bedroom on the third floor. But currently, the stair to the third floor is not to code. It's extra steep. It doesn't have a handrail. So it would be really invasive to the existing house to bring that up to code. So an addition was the better option for us.
Are there any issues regarding impervious coverage with this addition?
No, we're under the 500 square feet, and
Okay.
we're within the allowable, so.
Thank you.
Any further board questions? Or questions from the
Okay. John, I have nothing further. Request the exhibits be made part of the record,
Without
please.
objection. Public comment. Any public comment? I don't see any public comment. And the exhibits have been moved and accepted into evidence. Can I have a motion, please?
Sure, I'll do it. I would move that appeal number 3227 be granted a variance from section 280-25D1 of the code to construct an addition that will encroach into the side yard setback in accord with the exhibits and testimony presented.
I'll second that motion. Any board discussion?
I would just say that to me, the existing nonconformity of that 10-foot westerly side of the property is really where the problem presents itself. And I think the idea of keeping that chimney makes a lot of sense, and then you lose that 12 inches. So I kind of agree with the testimony and the opinions that the request represents the minimum relief.
And I'm familiar with that block, and it seems to me like all of the houses, or almost all of the houses, not every one of them, was constructed a long time ago. And consequently, the lots aren't necessarily going to be within the parameters that we require now. So no, I think that this is hardship has been demonstrated, and that this relief is the minimal relief necessary to give the applicant what they need. So I'll vote in favor of this. Any other board discussion or comment?
No, I couldn't agree more with the idea that it seems that since the time that those houses were originally built to now, there's been enough progress and change and growth that just adding this addition would be consistent with the neighborhood.
Okay. So let me call the vote. Zach?
Aye. I'm in favor.
Aye.
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 Okay, it passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just make sure I'm looking at the correct one. Then. Excuse me, just a second, please. Okay. Excuse me. The next item on the agenda is Appeal 3228. Sorry, that's being withdrawn, right? Okay. Sorry, jumped ahead. Appeal 3227 is the next item on the agenda.
3228.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do the same thing.
Yeah, I just went to the eye doctor too. It didn't help at all.
No, it's because of that. It's 8.
Yeah, 3228. The applicant, Cocoon Property located at 801 East Lancaster Avenue and Zone C1 Commercial. The applicant seeks a variance from Section 280, 12(2)C of the code relating to sign area and sign height. In the alternative, applicant requests such other relief consistent with the exhibits and the testimony.
Thank you, Nick Canoia, representing the applicant. This property that you've seen many times, it's that building right on the corner of 6 Points, I guess, is what we have here. It's that small, as shown on A5. Here's Lancaster Avenue.
The old gatehouse?
The little gatehouse, yes, correct. Kenilworth here, Aldwin Lane over here, Lancaster, Villanova up here, and then 320 here. Cute little house. Every time I go by it, it's a real cute house. Basically, I don't think there's been a tenant in there for several years. So what the proposal is here is basically for signage. And the issue is basically because it is such a narrow frontage, they're limited as to the size of the sign. As you notice on A6, the sign could only be 11 square feet. They're proposing a 16 square foot sign. And also they're proposing that the sign, rather than be 15 feet, which is the requirement, be 18 feet in height. As you notice on A6, the lineal frontage of the home is only 24.25 feet. It has appeared before the Design Review Board, has been approved by Design Review Board. So the request for relief is on the sign area for the Cocoon, which is the name of the business, and for the height. And you'll hear testimony regarding the brick here and where and why this has to be 18 feet as opposed to the 15-foot requirement. You see it's right above the window, but there's also other reasons on the brick itself that we have as exhibits and would be testified to.
Will you be testifying?
Both, yeah, both of them.
You'll both raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth and the whole truth? And state your name and spell it one at a time.
Chris Payson, CHRIS PAYSON.
Brian, Yanoviak, it's YANOVIAK.
Brian, your name again? I didn't hear it.
Brian, BRIAN, Yanoviak, YANOVIAK. And I'm with Sign Studios.
And Chris is the tenant. He owns the company that's the tenant. Chris, I'll ask you a couple questions first. What's your relationship to the applicant, Cocoon?
Founder and president.
Okay. And what type of business is Cocoon?
Residential design, build, remodeling.
And do you have is it like a showroom, or what do we have inside?
Inside this building. It's
What's your proposal for?
For office space.
Okay. Have you entered into a lease agreement with the owner?
Yes, I have.
And also, we've marked as A2 a copy of the deed, correct? It's
Correct.
here, showing that the owner is Mark Eney,
Yes.
correct? E-N-E-Y. And Mark, M-A-R-K. And then I've marked, and I don't know if the board has it. Kevin asked, actually, the consent that I had initially was for Design Review Board. Mr. Kachansky asked that we get a consent for the actual zoning hearing, and I did send it in as A3B. I don't know if you received it or not, or in your packet, but I'll hand them up in case you haven't. Correct. You got it? Okay, good. And do you know, has this building been leased in the last several years?
I don't know the full history of it, but I think it's been a couple years since, I think most recently might have been a bank or some type of private.
Well, that was a long time
wealth
ago. That bank?
bank.
Yeah. Well, just, go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's all I know.
Okay. I just remember when there was a bank there, but I think that was several years ago, yeah. Yeah, right, yeah. So that's all I really have for Chris. I mean, Brian's going to really testify regarding the sign. He's from Sign Studios in Wayne, and he'll really testify regarding the signs.
Good evening.
Let's start here, though.
Sure.
Okay. So again, just going back, as we said during opening, A4 is an aerial of the property, and it shows, again, Lancaster Avenue and 320 and Aldwin Lane and Kenilworth Lane. And this property is right in that little triangular portion, correct?
Right. Yeah, there's 6 roads that are right around that property. And depending on where you're at, it's very difficult to see the signage. If you're going west, you can only see the signage one way. If you're going east, you can barely see the signage coming the other way. And then
is this even like A5? Does that kind of
yes,
show what you're looking at? What
yes,
you were
correct.
Just describing.
Mm-hmm. Right. It's just really it's in a weird location. It's a beautiful building. It was built in the 1800s, but the visibility for signage is really difficult. So what we're proposing is we tried to put the signage within 15 feet height. And I went up there with one of my guys in a bucket truck
All right,
twice.
we're jumping
okay,
ahead.
am
a
I
little
jumping
bit.
ahead?
Yeah, okay. Let's see if we can go in order here.
Sure.
So I'm going to show you A6 first. And the lineal frontage of the building is 24.25
Yes,
feet.
correct, 24 and a quarter.
And that limits the size of the sign because of the Radnor ordinance, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
And I believe the ordinance, I have it in here.
I have it.
You have it there?
Zoning ordinance height requirement, Article 21 signs, Section 280-122C2, no wall sign shall exceed a sign height of 15 feet above the existing grade or project above any cornice, parapet, wall, roof line, or building facade. And then
So, and actually,
have the
you
other one.
could, if you had more frontage, the maximum is 50 feet.
yes, correct.
Right, but of course, we don't have the frontage for a 50-foot sign, so you're proposing a 16-square-foot sign. Now, you heard from the last hearing, is that the minimal relief to alleviate the hardship? And if it is, why?
Well, if I understand your question, Cocoon, if we were to put Cocoon as depicted in Exhibit A6, it would get the visibility from several of the roads. Again, there's 6 points that are around this building, but it would give the visibility that it would need for people to be able to identify where this business is.
And also, you're asking for it to be 18 feet in height as opposed to 15 feet, correct?
And there's a reason for that.
Okay, and I'm going to show you A8, if you can describe what that reason is.
Yes. Again, as I started to say, that we were up there twice with a bucket truck. One, because we wanted to match the decor of the building. We noticed that there was copper on the roof line, and we wanted to match that. But then we started to look at where to put the sign. And if you look at the arrows, every one of those rocks protrude from that. It's an old building. It was a stone building. All of those rocks protrude at different depths or different measurements coming off of the building. And if we were to try to put a channel sign or a channel letter sign on a raceway, it would be putting it on a seesaw, because one of the stones, which is the center stone, is actually protruding 14 inches off of the wall. Very difficult to do. And however, if you just go up another 3 feet, it's flat. It's nice and flat. It's perfect for the installation of this project.
And showing you A7, if you can just describe what A7 represents. I don't have the colored.
A7 is the Cocoon logo. They're channel letters on a raceway. The raceway is designed to match the facade of the stone. In other words, we're matching the Pantone color of that raceway to the stone. The channel letters are constructed out of solid copper. The faces are routed. The trim caps are copper. And like I said before, we went up to the roof. We actually matched the color of the patina of the copper of the roof line. And we were able to chemically anodize the channel letters to match that exactly.
And Brian, I should have started off with this. What's your business and where are you located?
I'm located at 346 West Lancaster Avenue in Wayne. I've been in Wayne since 1999. We've been manufacturing signs since 1986.
And you manufacture, so actually, the address, that's the place right next to Seafood USA.
Right next to Seafood USA, correct.
Where's your clientele?
The main line.
Okay.
Delaware County, Chester County, parts of Montgomery County.
And I'm going to show you what's been marked as A9. Is that the approval from the Design Review Board?
Yes, correct.
That's all I have at this time.
I have a couple questions. You're at 120 by 20 in terms of width and height. What consideration, Nick asked you a similar question, I might be a little more blunt. What consideration was given to reducing, so for instance, 2 inches, go to 18 inches high instead of 20 inches high in
Well,
order to reduce the need for the variance?
Just the visibility in front of, and I don't, do you have a picture of the parking lot in front of that? Yeah, there's a quite, A5, there's quite a bit of distance in front of that building. Again, if you look at Exhibit A4, you'll see a variety of different roads that are around this property, and depending on where you are, it's just really difficult to see anything less. I know that came up at the DRB. They did approve 20 inches for the side of the building. But if you look at the Villanova channel letter, illuminated channel letters, that was approved for Villanova University. I believe it was 83.5 inches high for their channel letters that was approved. And they certainly don't need the visibility because this is actually further back than where Villanova was.
So I certainly understand the need. I think what I'm hearing from you is the justification for the size is really the justification for the height, right? By putting it at 18
yes,
feet,
correct.
you
For
create that visibility.
Yes, correct.
Right. But
yes.
what I want you to focus in on is 16 feet. Why not get it to 14 feet by shaving off a couple of inches on either?
Well, that would affect the integrity of the logo. I mean, that's a logo, and as you reduce the width of cocoon, you reduce the height of the cocoon, and then therefore reduce the visibility of it as well.
Okay. All right. Here's my other question then. So looking at A8 shows us the protruding stones from the front of the building.
Yes.
Is it your testimony, I don't know if I heard it, but is it your testimony that where the sign is being proposed does not have similar build quality?
Well, if you see the entranceway of Cocoon, if you put the sign there where I have the arrows depicted in A8, and if you look at A6, you'll see that entrance structure actually blocks the signage. And again, we tested that when we went up there with the bucket truck. I mean, we had a piece of corrugated plastic, we taped it to the facade of the building, and it gets lost.
And the A8, what you're showing with the stone on A8, that's below the window?
That is right at the, if you look at the triangular structure
Right.
here, right to the right of that, that is actually right within this
Kind
area.
of below that double window there. But in between the double windows.
Correct, yes.
So is the proposing to mount the sign higher, is that due to the visibility from the portico, or is that due to
Well, it's
the
actually
stones?
both.
From the
It's
stones
due to
protruding
the-
out? You said
Let him finish,
Oh,
let
I'm
him
sorry.
finish.
the cornerstone?
Yeah.
So the cornerstone protruding out is not able to be mounted, or is it the visibility? Just so I'm clear.
It's actually both. Yeah, it's actually both. I didn't mean to interrupt you. It's actually both. It's the visibility, but also it's really the only place you can mount a sign where it's a flat surface, because those rocks they're at all different levels. And even if you didn't mount it onto a raceway, it would even look even more ridiculous. Yeah.
I have a question for each one of you, I guess. So Nick, is this relating to max allowable area of the sign as well, or is this just a height issue?
No, it's the sign area too.
So what's the allowable maximum for the sign area
It
for this
is-
building?
Yeah, we have it on, because it is such a narrow building, we have it here. It's on one of the exhibits. Here it is. Yeah. 11 is let me look though, just to make certain. Yeah. Yeah.
11 square feet.
right? It's 11 square feet. Actually, the sign area, just so is 16.7 square feet, because if you multiply the 120 inches, 10 feet, by the 1 foot 8 inches, it is actually 16.7 square feet. So the allowable sign area, because of the width of this building, is 11 square feet. We're proposing 16.7, so A6 should really be 16.7 square feet. And actually, if you look at the code, if it was a wider building, again, the maximum allowed for any building is 50 square feet. Now, but obviously we don't comply with that because that's based on your building width. And we're much shorter than that.
Okay, so I guess on that note, has there been any consideration of using multiple signs to address the different angles of seeing it? Have you considered signs on the side and a smaller sign up front?
Well, if you put a sign, if you're looking at the building in Exhibit A6, if you put a sign on the left side of that building, nobody's going to see it. Even though there is a road there, but it's in an awkward position. So you're not going to see it from Route 30.
But there is a sign on the 320 side.
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Correct. And that was approved by the DRB.
Okay, and then I guess my last question is, who is the, I know you said it is an office, are you having walk-ins coming in for these meetings? Is this scheduled meetings? What is the primary purpose?
No, I wouldn't say, it would be appointment only if any customers were to meet there for like a meeting, but it's mostly just office staff there working on designs for home designs and renovations.
Okay, so the sign, needing to see the sign isn't really pertinent to the well-being of the business? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, what our goal in architecture is just always symmetry and balance and quality, right? So we're looking at some of these numbers and where could it go, and then the uneven stone. What we looked at is this size scale. That's really what it is. It's scale and beauty, ultimately. Like, what makes this? How can we make the most beautiful looking sign on a beautiful building in Villanova? And so that's been our goal here, dealing with the current challenges and then looking for what's the end goal. The end goal is beauty and attractiveness.
So you're saying it's like an advertisement in order to show the quality of the work you do? That's the purpose? Because I'm just, if it's an office for your employees, they know where they're at, they know where they work. So what is the benefit of having a bigger sign than is necessary if you're just attracting your
Well, we
employees?
for one, it is customers will be finding it, so there'll be meetings there. So scheduled meetings, right? Where are we meeting? You come to a busy intersection. Where is Cocoon, right? And so just obviously, if you're coming from, I think of it like the one direction, being able to see it quarter block away, half a block away, I just know that intersection can get really busy. And then where you turn off of it and a quick turn into the parking lot, another part of it is even just safety.
Okay, thank you.
Did you consider other locations for this sign?
We did, yes.
Can you describe the location?
If you're trying to have the sign be visible,
Yes.
you could put it on the end of the portico, and that would make it 3 feet closer to the street.
We wanted we wanted the sign to actually tie into the architectural beauty of the building, and that's why we designed the sign using the patina, the copper patina, aging it, chemically anodizing it to get it to the roof line. And actually, I'll show you. This is an addition to the exhibit, but if you see, you can see the roof line in this picture, right where above my finger, and that's actually the color of not only the face of the trim cap for the channels, but also the returns that are going back. So even if you see the sign looking at an angle, you see that green copper. Which is absolutely beautiful on the stone. So we wanted something that could show off the building. Their business is Design Reimagined. And you also wanted to use it to bring a client in to look through architectural drawings and things like that. So we just wanted something that showed off the building and showed off we wanted to get the visibility, and you're not really going to get the visibility if you drive out to that site and look and at all the different roads. If you're going west on Lancaster Avenue, where the one sign was approved by the DRB because it met the requirements of not being higher than 15 feet, you see it. But if you're going east, you can't see it.
So actually, the sign on the eastern side of the building complies with all the zoning requirements?
It does, yes. As far as height, it's 20 inches high. Yeah, everything complies.
Well, I found your argument that the stones affect the mounting to be, doesn't carry any weight with me. It just seems like it's easier to put it on the flat stone. But the argument about visibility and the portico blocking the view would have been a much better argument for you to put forth in your application, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Okay. Thank you, John.
But remember, too, we can make whatever argument. We're not limited to what the application said, and you're aware of that.
Any other questions from the board?
Mr. Lord, just the exhibits be made part of the record, please.
You're moving your exhibits to evidence and you're accepting that.
Thank you. You want to?
If we can make it maybe A6.
It'll be
to-
A10, I believe.
Okay.
Any public comment? I'll ask for a motion.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, board comment.
Oh, no, I think motion then board comment. Right,
Right.
Gus? Motion then board, yeah. So I'll take the motion, but I'm going to split it into two motions. So maybe we'll discuss them separately. But motion one would be that the appeal number 3228, the applicant Cocoon, property located at 801 East Lancaster Avenue, that a variance be granted as to section 280-122C of the code relating to the sign height based on the exhibits and testimony presented. So I'll go first. I think with respect to the hardship with, the idea of making visibility on that part of Lancaster Avenue, certainly it's a unique building. I live right there and I see it every morning, so it's good to see somebody's going to take it over. The height certainly makes sense. The entranceway sits nearly to the top of that, and I don't think if a sign hung at 15 feet would be visible in any way. So to me, the hardship's presented for the variance for the height.
I agree with that.
John?
I agree with that. The building has sat there for, I don't know how many years, and it attracts attention just by sitting there. Because it is so unusual and so different. It really calls back to a different time on the main line when people built something like this just as a way of introducing the bigger house further up the hill. And it's certainly interesting to go by, but it presents all of these places, so many properties. And this one is particularly, makes this point, is that there's a lot of properties here in Radnor that were built at a different time, at a different place. I would hate to see this thing torn down or not used at all, or torn down, because it is part of Radnor's history. So I think I'm comfortable with the idea that there is a hardship in terms of the sign. And I can understand the need for that variance. So that's really all I have to say on that particular motion. Any other comment?
I can support the height variance. That makes sense to me because of the geometry of the building. I don't support the size. I think it could be easily reduced just a few inches, which would get you into the code.
Was that part 2 of the motion?
Yeah, that was the second.
So is the second motion before us? It hasn't been made yet.
Yeah, I mean, I second everything everyone says. I think it's clear that the height is warranted as a hardship, but I guess we'll get to the second motion.
Well, I need to call the vote then on the first motion.
Yeah.
Okay, so can I have the vote, please?
Aye. I'm in favor.
Aye.
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 Okay, so the first motion carries as approved. Now, will you make the second motion regarding the size of the sign?
Sorry. Seeing where the board's going, I spoke. And we can amend it. It appears that, I don't know if the magic number is 2 inches or not, but we can certainly reduce the height of the sign, I believe, by 2 inches, which would make the sign 21 foot 8 inches smaller.
21.8 inches smaller?
It would still be 120.
Say it again?
It'd be 120, the width. The height would be 18-inch letters. Let's make certain.
So that's 180.
Yeah.
Gets it at 115 square feet.
Is that reducing the width at all, or just the height?
Well, I think you need to reduce, I think he's, well, let's hear from the expert. I don't know if he can just reduce
Go ahead.
one of the measurements.
The discussion was reducing the height of the sign.
The letter height of the sign, that is the question. I'm deaf in my left ear, so I apologize. I wouldn't want to change the integrity of the logo. As we reduce the letter height, it will reduce the width, correct, yes.
So the width would be less than 120 inches,
Yes,
10 feet as well.
yes, correct.
Do we know what at this time, or
I can scale it really quick, give me a couple minutes.
would you, or would the board prefer doing that, or saying less than 10 feet in width?
We could continue the hearing
Can we-
until later tonight. I
Can
mean,
we
it's-
adjourn it? Right, hear
Yeah.
somebody else and
Of
then-
course,
And move on to
absolutely.
Go ahead.
We're going to do that. We'll adjourn
That's
it.
fine.
We don't need a motion for that, right? Okay, so we'll adjourn pending some new calculations being brought
Did we
forth.
take a vote on the height motion? or did we
Yeah,
do it all
that
together?
carried.
Thank you. I know, it's gorgeous. That's a cute building. I love that building. Be a really nice law office. It'd be a really nice law office, wouldn't it? Yeah. I think it's small, the building itself, but, but there you go, Rich, you know.
Okay, so temporary, we're moving on to the next item on the agenda, which is Appeal 3229, and we have a letter from counsel to Kevin Kochansky from Nick Cornelia saying, "Dear Kevin, this letter confirms my communication to you yesterday advising that this applicant is withdrawing the above application. The applicant will reapply with a new submission with the intention of being held at the September zoning hearing. Thank you for your time and consideration, et cetera, et cetera."
Yes,
Is that
that's
correct?
correct.
Okay, so,
And just, you are having a zoning hearing August 2nd, my understanding is, but nothing the
August
third
5.
Thursday. August 5, okay, but nothing the third Thursday.
no, that's right.
Okay,
Correct.
All right.
Did you want to jump on that bandwagon?
No, I don't. I'm going to be away, so I prefer not. Yeah.
Okay, so it's approved, and it will be relisted on the September zoning hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I believe he's withdrawing the application and
right.
Oh, I'm
has
sorry.
to file a
Yeah,
completely new
correct.
application.
It'll be a new application, new fee for the township.
Okay.
New
So,
exhibits probably.
Just to make sure the record's clear, it's being withdrawn, and a new application will be submitted.
Correct.
Okay. With the intention of being listed on the September zoning hearing. Okay. Yeah, there should be a folder. And I think we should stick this in the one where. All right, what's yours?
Do you guys have two plans here?
Of which one?
He hasn't shown us the I remember what we did with the wine sign.
And Penn Medicine sign.
Yeah. Penn Medicine too. So he doesn't have to feel like we're picking on him.
Right. We've said no to bigger and better. Well, at least bigger, I shouldn't say better.
I'm with you, the celebrate that's being saved.
What's that?
It's being saved. That's a beautiful building.
Yeah, it really is. I'm surprised it hasn't been bought and picked up and moved to a vineyard in
What was
Texas.
a private bank for a while.
Well, Nick's doing the next one too, so. This is all Nick all the time.
You're trying to be a nice guy, John.
No, but it's distracting. He's talking to these guys.
You know, you take the drawing and you put your cursor in the upper right corner and pull down a little bit, and it shrinks the whole thing.
Okay. Field engineering always works out. for you.
Absolutely. And then you write on the drawing, TAWI, to agree with installation.
I
Instead
did,
of as built.
case out in the middle of the state where they were doing, they did some field engineering while testing some piping. Instead of using water, because it was a big pain in the ass, they used air. Thing blew up, killed a guy. Yeah, because the air holds energy, whereas the
Yeah,
water.
you don't never use a pneumo when you can use water.
Yeah, and
Hydro.
they specified water, and then the guy, they just like on the fly said, well, what does this do to you?
Ah, man.
This
This
is
air,
kind of hostile.
air is compressible.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I learned a little high school
I
physics.
learned that in fluid dynamics. And also, I worked in power plants, and you would never air test.
Yeah, it was when our expert saw that, he said this is the damnedest thing I've ever seen. You know? And it was. Okay, so we are. Let's see where we. This sign is. Sitting on that Norman French building or whatever. It's just like something out of a dystopian movie. Where there's some virus that gets out. Gives everybody a case of bad taste. Okay. Well, no, the next one would be the jokester one. Let's.
And then you take us towards
Nick, how are we making out? Can we go to?
Yeah, we're still talking on this.
You want to do the next one? Do 32, 30, 3220? Okay. 3230. Boy, my eyes are. Yeah. I know. Okay. Nick, let's go on to the next one while the calculations are being done. Okay, so the next item on the agenda, we're going to move on to Appeal 3230. Sorry. That's correct, 3230. The applicant, Joxia LP, property located at 126 Garrett Avenue and zoned GH-GA. Applicant wishes to construct a building on the rear of the premises where he intends to perform specialized training to prospective rowers. The instructions would be individual or in small groups. Applicant contends the use is permitted as a personal care service or requests a variance from section 280-49.7B. Applicant further seeks a variance from section 280-49.7B1 to permit two primary uses on the lot. In the alternative, applicant requests such other relief consistent with the exhibits and testimony presented at the zoning hearing. Go ahead, Nick.
Evening, Nick Canoia, representing the applicant. This is in the Garrett Hill area. Just to familiarize the board, you'll see on, wouldn't be A4 here, Conestoga Road in this area. I believe Antonella's, right? Is that this property here where Antonella's is, the restaurant? And then moving up, we're talking about this property here that's owned by the applicant, who also owns this property here. They're two separate parcels. He owns this property as well as this property. The property here to the left of the one owned by the applicant. Recently, we were here for zoning relief for that property, you may recall. Yeah. Yeah, for apartment.
Okay, you're referring to exhibit
A4. A4. And what we have proposed here, you'll see A5. A5 is existing conditions and has, and we'll describe, there's an apartment in here and a small office. And in the back, there's two accessory buildings. These accessory buildings would be removed and a new building, 1,200. Yep. Here and here would be removed, and a new building, 1,200 square feet, would be located in the back. It complies with all dimensional and impervious coverage requirements. Again, the Garrett Hill ordinance is unique. So one of the reliefs that the zoning officer stated we needed was use. And the other relief was now we would have two primary uses, one being the apartment and one being the building where the personal instruction would take place. We have Kevin, and we have father and son here, actually. Father is the owner, his LP is the owner, and Kevin will be running the business. So swear them in.
Kevin Leslie, L-E-S, Kevin Leslie, oops, sorry, Kevin Leslie, L-E-S-L-I-E.
And John Leslie.
Okay. John, you're here too. I'll just start with Kevin, and if something is inaccurate, you can correct them as far as the ownership and things of that nature. Kevin, what's the relationship of your dad to the applicant, Jocasa LP?
My dad, along with my mother, are, it's a holding company for the real estate, their real estate holdings, including both 126 and 130 Garrett Ave.
And what's your dad's occupation?
He is the owner of Bryn Mawr Plumbing and Heating, located Summit Grove Ave in Bryn Mawr, and yeah, so Bryn Mawr Plumbing and Heating.
Yeah, just down the street from here. And your proposal, and he also owns the adjacent property, as I discussed in opening, and we'll go through that again. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay, so if we look at the aerial, well, first, the deed is marked as A2, and that's the deed indicating the ownership.
Yes.
Looking at A2, which is the aerial, the star here is where the subject property is located. And as we go down to the south, your dad also owns the property to the south, correct?
Yes, 130 Garrett Ave.
Okay, and we're talking about Conestoga Road, Garrett Avenue, Flippin' Bailey's located on the corner. Remember, you got to respond.
Yes.
Okay, and across the street is the other bar?
Garrett Hill Ale House, I believe.
Okay.
Garrett Hill Ale House, I believe.
And we have commercial properties going up Garrett Avenue.
Yes, all zoned the same as Garrett Hill.
Okay. Showing you A4, outlined in red. That's the subject property we're referencing.
Yes.
And Next to that is the property that your dad owns as well.
Yes.
And what is your intent? You know, during opening, we discussed construction of a 1,200 square foot single-story building. What's your intent for that building?
So our intent is to, well, we will remove the two sheds. They're both sheds located in the back. We would remove those two. We would put up a 1,200 square foot, one-story building / garage, essentially for my rowing and recruiting and college planning business, which generally works with high school rowers who aspire to get recruited and compete at the college level, both in terms of their performance, their development, and also college planning and helping them through the recruiting process.
And so you're also helping them with admissions and the proper school they should be applying to and things of that nature?
Yes.
Would you also possibly be speaking to coaches and representatives of the various schools?
Yes, I have. I was a college coach for 6 years at St. Joseph's University. I also rowed at St. Joseph's University, and through that, my network with college coaches and contacting them and helping athletes connect with those coaches. But more specifically to the facility would be for helping them acquire the skill set in order to meet the requirements as a recruit.
And what would be contained in the building?
It would be rowing machines, which specifically Concept 2 rowing machines, which are kind of the standard within both high school and college and Olympic rowing. It would be probably some weight training equipment just for the athletic side or the strength and conditioning side, and then permitting space, perhaps an office space where I can do college planning with the athletes.
And is this going to be open to basically anyone who wants to come in and lift weights or do rowing, the herb machine or anything like that, or would it be?
No, it would be primarily used for high school rowers who aspire to row at the college level, many of which are, who I currently work with, are within Agnes Irwin, Radnor High School, Archbishop Carroll, plus most of the schools within the greater Philadelphia area.
And what would be, is it one-on-one, is it small class size, or how's the instruction work?
It's primarily one-to-one, where an athlete will come and work with me, whether that is for an hour just specific to their needs. That's kind of the training side of things. And then any kind of small group opportunities would be more so focused on learn-to-row opportunities, helping to promote sport. So the primary business operation would be one-to-one work with individual athletes. And then secondary uses would be learn-to-row opportunities and growth for the sport.
And when you say small group, how small a group are we talking about?
I would say on average it would be 4, probably at 4 to 6, maybe up to 8.
Okay. And then sometimes too would be just single or even less than that?
Primarily single, actually, yes. Especially during school, it's a very seasonal hours of operation. So the summertime is a little bit of a busier time, obviously, with athletes out of school, and then fall and spring are actually primarily, if not only, one-to-one sessions.
Okay, and how about hours of operation?
Hours of operation would be outside of school hours, so primarily you could say 6 to 8 a.m., but for high school kids, that's definitely not the priority time slot. I would say primarily 3:30 to 7 p.m. is probably the latest I would go for in person.
And that would have to be out of season for them?
Yes, for the most part, primarily out of season because they are practicing 6 days a week with their home programs. I'm more of an external resource for them.
Okay, and how about during the summer?
During the summer, it's a little bit busier because they are out of school, but I would say for the most part, still AM sessions, and then still probably actually the similar hours, just the volume might be a slight increase since athletes are out of school.
Okay. Showing you what's been marked as A5. Is that the existing conditions of the property?
Yes, this is the existing conditions of the property, the unit or the primary unit up front, and then the 2 sheds in the back.
And you're proposing the 2 sheds to be removed, correct?
Those sheds would be removed, yes.
And what's in the front house currently? Where are the uses in the front house?
Currently in the front house, we have a small office space that is currently vacant as of, I believe, June of this, a month ago, that occupies the front of the unit, it's 324 square feet according to our calculations. And then the rest of the house is actually on the first floor, is actually unfinished space. My dad bought the property back in 2014, and it's still unfinished. However, the second and third layer are a 2-bedroom apartment that is currently occupied by one tenant, one individual.
Now I'm going to show you what I'm going to mark as A6, and I'm not certain if this has been marked previously, but this is the proposed use with parking calculations. And I'm going to show you a plan dated, looks like May of 2025, and this is titled New Accessory Building, 126 Garrett Avenue. Can you describe to the board what that represents?
So the base plot is the exact same as the current, or as the one we just previously saw, but with the sheds removed in the back lot and the accessory building placed, the 1,200 square foot accessory building placed on the back lot, meeting, as far as we can tell, the setback requirements, and then the spaces or the parking requirements. As you can see, we have a few perpendicular spaces on both sides, and meeting 14 or up to 14 spaces currently laid out on the plan.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Just for clarity, I think this is that plan is in the packet marked as A5.
This plan is? Okay.
I believe it's the same one.
How about?
There are larger ones in our packet. But I think what you're showing, you marked it A6. I think what you're showing is, here you can,
Yeah, that should be, that is A5.
yeah.
And why don't we refer to existing conditions in A6?
What's open on the table right now is A5.
A5.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kevin came in and submitted, I told him to submit full-size plans. I think originally what I had submitted were the smaller plans, and then I left for vacation, and Kevin went in and replaced those smaller plans with full-size plans. So again, referencing A5. So in the front building, how many apartments are in the front building?
One apartment in the front building.
And you said there's an unoccupied office in that front building as well?
Yes, in the front of the front unit of the building is.
Okay, so that apartment in the front building, what floors is it located on?
The second and third floor. So it's the second is the primary, and then there's a small second or.
Yeah, and looking at the plan, it references something on the first floor. What is that regarding the apartment?
That is unfinished space within the building. No one lives in there, or it's unusable at this stage.
Okay. So actually, if you were going to fill that, you would have to comply with whatever the parking requirement is. That Mr. Kachansky will be asking you the use and determine the parking.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
So currently, though, you're required to have 12 spaces, and you're providing 14 spaces. Is that at least according to the legend up here?
Yes.
And there's only one apartment, so that's why, actually, if you look at the legend, it's an error a little bit because it references 2 spaces. It appears for 2 apartments, but then the number is actually 12 spaces, so it eliminated the 2. So the actual number is 12 is required currently. 14 are provided, so right now you have 2 extra spaces.
Yes.
Referring to A6, did you proceed to Planning Commission? Or actually, I'm going to mark that as A7 now. Did you proceed to the Planning Commission for their recommendation?
Yes, we did.
And they recommended approval, subject to you complying with the stormwater management requirements of the Radnor ordinance, correct?
Yes.
okay, thanks.
That's all I have for testimony. I'd like to discuss the ordinance a little bit. I don't know if we want to do it now or if you want me to submit the exhibits and talk about it later. As I said, we have, two issues here on the Garrett Hill ordinance.
Why don't you move your exhibits in, and then you can discuss the ordinance.
Okay. I would request the exhibits be made part of the record, please.
Without objection.
So, I'm looking at the Garrett Hill ordinance, and it does reference personal care services. And it references personal care services, which is a permitted use, as establishments, primary engaged in providing services involving the care of a person. Now, it does give examples. It says beauty shops, barber shops, nail salons, shoe repair. But in fact, he is providing a personal service, providing care of the person. Obviously, it's physical care of the person. So it appears as if it fits under the provision for personal care services. Then you have another provision in the code that talks about primary uses. And right under that, actually, is right under the definition that talks about a principal use, and it mentions the main or primary use of property or structure. And again, it kind of confuses me because you have one property, but you have two structures. So it seems to be a little ambiguous as to whether you're allowed one primary use on the lot or one primary use in each of the structures. And then it does reference primary uses, and one, the mixed use, which we have in the front house, that is permitted as a primary use. And then also permitted as a primary use is commercial services such as personal care services. So again, every time I look at this Garrett Hill ordinance, I get more and more confused. I'm sorry, Kevin. But, so it's just the argument is that I believe the use is permitted and that basically there's nothing prohibiting true primary care use or two principal uses on a lot, provided they're each in a separate building. So that's basically what I wanted to bring to the board's attention. And the Planning Commission did recommend unanimously approval on this. It's a good use. I mean, I think we all agree with that.
Can we have some testimony regarding what's going to be physically inside of the building? I understand you're going to take down the two existing buildings. That's the idea, and then you would put up the new building. So for training purposes, what's inside the building? And will it have showers? Will it have restrooms? Will it have, what's going to be in there?
As currently constructed, we haven't gotten to the point of identifying whether there's, well, the intent would be to have bathrooms and showers at some point, but just based off of today, it'd be gym equipment, rowing machines that are specific to the recruiting process or the development of high school rowers. It'd be strength training or training equipment for development, and then yes, we would have space for athletes to place their personal items and presumably or at some point showers and bathrooms.
Well, when you say training equipment, what are you talking about, erg machines and such?
Yes, erg machines, which is, the Concept 2 rowers. We would have Concept 2 rowers, which is the primary tool for the college recruiting process for rowing, which is, there's 90 plus Division I programs, all of which provide scholarship opportunity. And my intent is to hopefully help prepare them for that process, help them navigate the process, and the ergometer, the Concept 2 is the primary vehicle for that.
And if you're training an individual rower, how long would each session last?
How long would they be? Excuse me?
Yeah, how long would each session last?
60 minutes, yes.
And this would be something where you would be personally, your business here would be retained by the individual rower or the individual rower's family. You're not going to have a connection with a college or university or club rowing or anything that's down along the river?
It's primarily connected with the individual and their family. So right now, athletes that I work with, it's predominantly remote, where we're meeting via, we're doing a lot of college planning on the remote side, but then the in-house component would be all centered around the individual itself. It wouldn't be involved with high school programs or clubs necessarily at this current stage. It'd be the individual and the family.
Okay. Would there be consulting on diets and energy consumption, all of those things that go along with modern sports?
It would be a component, but I like to stay in my lane in regards to that. So I do have referrals and networks that I would put athletes in contact with specifically for diet and supplementation for performance. So I can provide high level as someone who worked in that space for years, but referring it out to professionals would be the primary intent.
And would there be a music or some sort of sound function to inspire the athletes to excel?
Yes, there will be presumably music in terms of just part of the sport is the ability to see an athlete perform a 2,000-meter ergometer test, so on the same machine. So a key component to that is creating an environment suited for them to be successful with that. So music is obviously a component to any physical activity. So within reason, yes, there would be music.
But it would be enclosed. You're not
Yes.
doing any training outside.
It would be an enclosed space, an enclosed space.
I assume it'd be air conditioned?
That'd be the goal. That would probably be a budget look, but yes, ideally.
Okay.
At least initially.
So Nick, how would this be different, this use, from just a specialized gymnasium? Instead of tossing around weights, you're working on an erg machine, for example. You're practicing a certain rowing technique that makes you more efficient.
Yeah, it wouldn't, I'm not
seeing the personal care thing.
Yeah, most of the
unless they're getting their hair braided.
Yeah, most of the gyms that I see, at least in the area, you walk in, you work out.
Yeah.
This is different though, because this is specialized. And I don't know how many specialized gyms there are around.
Well, they all have, all these gyms, that's
Well, you
how they keep
have-
people coming back, because they have trainers that are there, and,
But
they
it's not-
provide a certain level of training for a fee.
Yeah. But
Some
it's-
more expensive than others.
But it's still open to the general public. You have weights, you have spin classes, you have Pilates and everything of that nature in a gym. That's not what he's doing here. He's doing something very specific to rowing. And it's not just the physical activity itself, it's also the advising on admissions process with the various colleges for rowing, which is, I've been through it. It's a hazardous item. It's difficult, when you're trying to have your kid play a college sport and decide on the proper school.
Okay.
And that's what he's doing here. It's rowing. You know, my guys was field hockey and lacrosse, but it's still same type of thing.
Just, I am having an issue calling this personal, what's the term?
Personal care.
Personal care. I mean, it's, but go ahead. with your
Yeah. And,
presentation.
John, you know, obviously, if it's a variance, we're happy with if it's a variance, and we're able to acquire a variance on it. But I think it does fit in. It's different. It's kind of a use that's not really provided for in the code. And so what is the closest use to it? And that's why, you know, I thought a personal care would be, just because it's not a beauty shop, you're not having your hair done, you're basically, your personal care is the physical attributes of it. But again, it's individualized. And it's just this particular use. It's not multiple uses, multiple trainers. It's a particular type of use.
Nick, would this be able to be differentiated from a traffic home occupation, in a sense? I'm just curious, just reading through the code and everything and trying to parse it out.
I think the traffic home he had to be living in the premises, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So once you're completed the training session with that individual, do you intend to have multiple individuals coming in a single day, or is it just going to be kind of one-off for the day?
I would say for me individually, it'd be one athlete per hour time slot for me individually, and it would be centered around that individual. And then depending on the season out, the season and the cycle, there perhaps could be another athlete coming in following that athlete. But the coaching, the primary business, the coaching sessions itself would be one-to-one.
So would you allow, let's say, a former client to come in and use the facilities while you're training another person?
I haven't necessarily thought that far ahead, but in theory, if there's an available space, potentially, yes, I would provide them an opportunity to.
Would you charge them like a membership fee, or would they just, because they were a former client, you can just have them come in for free? How would that kind of work?
It would be relationship-based, but I would say the athletes that I currently work with, which is mostly remote, but it's subscription-based. So if they're paying, so if I'm meeting with them on a one-to-one basis, the in-person facility, I guess, would be if I'm there and have access and open, or have the building open, and an athlete wanted to come in, then yeah, there would probably be a fee.
Now, are you talking about a current client, or say someone who went to college and graduated from college? Would they be able to come in and use the facility? I mean, my impression was a personal care. It was for individual high school, maybe college-age kids who are training. But are you going to allow the general public in too?
No, the general public would not be.
That's what I think. That's
hopefully if
what
I
you're trying to
articulate.
get
Yeah.
at.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay, so no blank memberships or prior clients coming in for a fee. It's
No.
just when you have a client that's dedicated client, it's an individualized one-on-one session.
Yes. And it's solely athletes again who are within
just one
the
at a time.
Yeah.
But it's just one at a time?
Yes.
Okay. And let's say hypothetically you have a partner come in and you could have two at a time, but it's still individualized, personalized treatment?
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe I misheard something, but is it your intention that you would always be present physically in the facility when anybody's working out?
That would be the intent. I would be.
That would be the intent.
Well, yeah, I would never allow someone in there without supervision. So I would be there.
Okay. I thought I heard you say something about somebody could come in when you're not there. But
No. It would be. I would never. It would be supervised coaching, and in many I think coaching would be the way I would describe it rather than just training. It'd be more in terms of it would equate more to a golf lesson than necessarily like a personal training session in that regard, because of the technical aspect of the sport and the one-to-one instruction of it. So But in terms of actually using the facility and training in the facility without supervision, no, that would not be part of it.
So a current customer will say, it can't call you up and say, I'd like to come over now and work out on an erg machine, even though you're not going to be there, you know this person. Would you let that person in?
No, that would not be part of the case. It wouldn't be like a standard rowing club on Boathouse Row where you have 24/7 access in theory. This is purposeful for the intent of this particular athlete in there, and there wouldn't be free access to the facility. Hopefully they would have.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Have you had any dialogue with the neighbors who are surrounding this, like behind the property, just given the proposed use?
Yeah, we
John,
talked to them.
John, you got to use that.
Yes, I went around and talked to them.
Again, were they receptive or?
Yeah, they're okay. I showed them the plan with the parking.
Okay, thank you.
They were just concerned about, making sure we had the parking.
Yeah, I think the big concern on Garrett Avenue is no parking on the street.
Thank you.
Mr. Keneally, does your client, can direct this to your client, physically, how many erg machines or other individual weightlifting machines do you envision having inside the space?
I would say probably 6 to 8 rowing machines, and then equipment. Again, I got my area is more rowing specific, but there would be strength on a smaller scale. There would be strength conditioning equipment available, like maybe some kettlebells and barbells and dumbbells and things like that, but primarily with the rowing machines.
Okay, thank you.
So you're conducting tests, like VO2 max tests, that sort of thing?
I do not. I don't have currently that layer of expertise to be able to conduct that. I would have to bring in more of a sports scientist to conduct something like that. So that's not my original, or that's not my intent.
So you just said that, and correct me if I'm wrong, that you would have 6 machines?
6 to 8, probably.
So I guess I'm just a little confused. What is the point of having 6 to 8 rowing machines if you're only going to have one person in there at a time with you? Are these like different types? I don't know rowing at all, so please educate me. Are they like different types of machines with different layouts or different kind of tension or pressure? Or just generally, why so many machines if it's one-on-one sessions?
I think he did say there'd be some small groups though, too. So Bonnie.
Yes, a secondary component would be small group opportunity, primarily learn to row opportunity to help promote the sport and build the sport. So small group would be a secondary, and probably specifically in the summer off season, but the main would be the one-to-one.
Okay.
Yes, please, if I haven't already, please.
Any scope of public comment, any public comment?
I don't think anybody's here.
So is there any public comment? I'm going to call for a motion, but I'm wondering if this requires two motions.
Yeah, I mean, sure, why not? I'll do it. We'll split it. It's 2 forms of relief.
Yeah.
Okay, so I would move that the application under appeal number 3230 be granted for a variance to permit the use as described in the testimony and exhibits as a personal, strike that last part, to permit the use as described under section 280-49.7.b. Does that make sense?
Second.
Board discussion?
I guess just like you were saying, John, I'm just trying to figure out how this is personal care. I get the one-on-one sessions being personal care, but it seems like it just has the very high potential to get bigger than one-on-one care. So just trying to figure out if that's something we can build in some sort of protection to prevent that, or if that's just an inevitable reality of the situation, just kind of my thoughts.
Oh, yeah, I guess we could do it by motion, right?
Well, you can, the motion can include conditions. You can certainly put any type of conditions you want on this based on the testimony you heard, for example, the 6 to 8 machines or whatever other conditions you want to put on it. Hours of operation. For a use variance like this, those are normal conditions you would add to the grant or the motion.
Would we consider like a capacity condition?
Whatever reasonable conditions the board deems necessary.
Procedurally, I'm not sure what we do, but that's okay, we could figure that out.
It should be part of the
yeah.
motion.
I guess
and
we would
think-
amend the motion.
Amend the motion, I'm sorry, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah.
You could easily amend the motion, correct?
So, yeah,
One thing that needs to be in the motion would be the planning commission's suggestion. One of the things that needs to be in one of the motions is as a condition, is the planning commission's recommendation that the stormwater management recommendation that they put forth in their approval from their standpoint should be included in the motion, make it part of our approval if it's granted.
I guess that's a condition of the ordinance, though, right?
It's part of it. I mean,
Management.
you're only granting variance to that specific section that's referenced, and then your conditions, it goes without saying that they have to comply with every other ordinance in the Radnor Code, including stormwater management.
And we have to go back for land development anyway on this because of the structure.
So, if you have a suggestion of,
I mean, I was thinking personally, no more than 8, just because if you're going to have small groups, anything more than that's not really a small group anymore. And if you're having 10, 12 people, and then it's effectively a gym because you're just having people coming in using the equipment, and it's not in the context of a small group or individualized session. So I think when it comes to personal care, it's really hard to say it's personal care if it's more than 8 to 10 people.
It also relates back to the parking spots. I think right now they still have 2 extra parking spots. So right now I think are 10 set aside for this building. So I think that maybe also is a logical upper limit.
I hadn't considered the idea of a size limitation, but, okay. Well, then I guess, do I have to move to amend my motion, or can I just make my amendment?
A board member can ask you to add that to your motion. It doesn't have to be that formal, and assuming there's no real objection from anyone else, it can be made part of the motion.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you wanted to add the 10 cap in accordance with the parking lots and expectations.
So it's funny, we start talking numbers. I think 10 sounds like a lot, especially under your idea of, at some point, group session takes it outside of this personal care idea. So I'd be comfortable amending it to no more than 8 people.
Yeah.
8 makes sense, because that's the biggest boat.
Mm-hmm.
Right. True. Everybody always forgets the coxswain there. All right, so, yeah, so we'll amend the motion that the variance be granted for the use pursuant to 280-49.7.b on the condition that the, not occupancy, the
Number of customers?
number of, yeah.
Well,
not-
actually, 8, I want to make sure that it's the board's intent is followed. 8 customers, but obviously the 9th person would be the trainer, so.
Correct, no more than 8 customers in any one session. Okay.
Okay, second. Any board discussion on the motion? Okay, I'll call the vote.
Yeah, I guess I'll make a comment just generally. I think that it's funny, the dilemma on both questions is the code just doesn't really give us much guidance. I understand the idea personal care is usually like a barber shop, and the code does include certain examples, but they're not binding on us, they're just examples. And the idea of these one-on-one sessions certainly starts to feel more personal care than a much larger session. But rather than try and figure out what the code means or does, we get the escape hatch of a variance. So I think it's reasonable. It's a reasonable consideration, a reasonable use in the area. So I'll be in favor of the use variance. So.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's a highly specialized area. You're not in the boat. You're working on technique. So you need a location where you can concentrate on the technique without having to worry about whether they can get in and out of the boat without falling in the water. And it's not dissimilar from cycle training. I mean, you'll have the cycling can be fixed in a trainer, and you can work on your pedal stroke. And that would be the exact same thing. You'll be sitting there, working on the pedal stroke, which is something that the pros work on endlessly because they learn or they teach themselves how much torque they can develop. And it shows in the results. And so I see where there's a need for something like that. The cycle world has developed it pretty well. So is the rowing world, except that you're proposing something that's just dedicated to working on technique and strength and endurance, I assume. So it may be a bit of a stretch to call personal care, but it's a limited group of people who are going to be engaged in this. I don't perceive people just wandering in off the street saying, let me try out the erg machines there. And I don't think you would let that happen, because it would take away from the quality of your representation to the parents and the schools that you're talking to. So I'm okay with this. I'm in favor of the motion. Anybody else? Okay. I'll call the vote. Zach?
Aye. I'm in favor.
Aye.
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 So,
Want me to do the second motion? Sorry.
yeah, you're on a roll.
Yeah, so, all right, I would make a motion that the request for relief under Appeal 3230 to permit two primary uses on the lot under Section 280-49.7B1 be approved.
Second.
So this one, again, it's an interesting dilemma, right? Two primary uses, but yet Section 49.7B1C says you can have, I think it said mixed use is the word. So, the idea, it's just the idea that you could have a mixed use that's permitted, but not two uses on the same property just sort of twists my head a little bit. So again, rather than try and figure out whether or not you need the variance, I think it's easier just to permit the variance and,
Yeah.
let you.
I mean, the secondary use versus a mixed use, you have one building over here that is not going to be used at all, and then you got the next building in the back you're going to put up. I mean, you are twisting your head trying to figure out exactly what the code means on that particular situation, but I do think that this situation warrants a variance, all things considered. And I would agree with the motion, or I would approve the motion. Any other comment? Any other board discussion?
So regarding the additional use, would that be limited to what has been presented here? Meaning that it's not going to be, well, this is a blanket for two uses on the same property, two primary uses. You know what I'm saying, Mr. Chairman?
Yeah, I do. I think that, again, it's tough to get your head around a little bit, because I don't think it means that they can open up some other form of a gym in the one of
They'd
the.
have to come in for a
Yeah.
change of use.
So, I mean, this is all within the testimony and the documents that have been presented here today on this particular project. So if all of a sudden they decide to do something different in the back here, once it's built, that would require a whole other application and approval process.
Okay, that's fair.
So let me call the vote. fact.
So I'm in favor.
Aye.
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 It's approved. Okay, thank you very much.
Good luck.
Yes, good luck.
It's good use. Now.
People, both rowing clubs in Radnor have been
What's that
really
again?
successful getting scholarships.
Well, I belong to a rowing club, but I don't row anymore. But I do have very familiar with cycle training because I do cycle. Yeah. But the cycles,
Especially the
I mean, you've
women's
seen the
club.
demonstration of that with the
They
Tour de
would.
France, if you're watching it. I mean, the
They're
speed and
friends
the
of
numbers,
mine
it's a
own the
combination
Pines
of
Rowing Center. Yeah. My wife
science
used
of
to
the
row
chain rings and
back in the
the
70s.
size of the chain rings and number of teeth, all that stuff. Plus the diets. I mean, they've
Still
taken
our
the
best
diets
friends
and
are
brought it
people
down
she
to a
used to row with.
scientific level.
Well,
I
it's
mean,
a cult.
a real
Do we
thought
have
experiment
the
would be
square
if
footage so
that
that
was
we know?
available.
If you're
And
down there at
you would have, the
5:30
blood
in the
doping would
morning
have been like a
rowing
waste
in
of
the
time.
Okay, I'm just telling you, you know where they're coming from, all right? It's pretty clear.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Thank you for giving us some extra time here. And
Okay, so let's go back on, hang on for a second.
Sure.
So we're shifting gears and we're going back to appeal of Cocoon Industries. We're talking about the sign, which was Exhibit A7. We took a break for a few moments and kept ourselves busy on some other applications. So now we're back to you. So what have you worked out?
Could I just do a quick recap?
Sure.
Please. I know that the commissioners here have, we've recognized that there is a hardship as far as visibility because number of factors. The entrance archway jets out and obstructs the view of a wall sign for the front of the building.
We're really focusing on the size. I think that's the message we sense.
Right.
The preamble is
And-
appreciated, but not necessary.
But there is a rule of thumb in the sign industry, and that rule of thumb is 1 inch equals 10 foot of readability. Not visibility, but readability. And if you really look at that front where we're asking to have the 20-inch high by 120-inch wide sign, 20-inch letters, it's 252 feet from the only visible road, which is Route 30, as you're heading east. And we're, we obviously can't fit any higher letters on that because as the increase of letter height, it also increases the width of that logo of Cocoon. So, at 20 inches by 100, at 20 inches high by 120 inches wide, that's 16.6 square feet. That's what we determined. If we were to go 19-inch letters, that would reduce the width to 114 inches. But I did want to say this. The DRB approved 20 inches on the side of the building, and that's only 6 feet off of the ground, and we're looking at 18 feet off of the ground, and we want to reduce even more than 20 inches high. So we're already 252 feet back from the main visible of that front of the building. And like I said before, the rule of thumb, and I'll just read this right from my notes from our industry. Sign visibility depends on several factors, including size. Okay, sure. Sign visibility depends on several factors, including size, color, contrast, font, viewing distance, placement, and lighting. Effective signs are designed to be easily seen and read from a distance, especially in traffic situations. And we have a tremendous traffic situation here because we have 6 roads that are intersecting around this awkwardly placed building that has many, many angles and many variables that block people's view. It blocks the visibility. Sign experts say that a good rule of thumb is that each inch of letter height provides approximately 10 feet of readability. And, larger signs are necessary for long-distance visibility. I mean, that's a fact. The viewing distance is important. Obviously, the placement is important because in this particular thing, and you all agree that by moving it up to 18 feet, it clears that entranceway, archway, which was obstructing his view. The building is such on a weird angle that depending on where the car is on either of the roads, you can't see the signs. And that's why we have a sign on the side of the building. That's why we're asking for the sign 20 inches high so that we would capture that visibility, because 20-inch letter would give you 200 feet of visibility, and we're already at 252 feet. We want it to be viewed to the drivers. I mean, they also have a limited ability to read. I mean, there's a lot of traffic there coming from 6 different directions, and the sign needs to be clear, it needs to be visible, and it needs to be easy to understand. And that's one of the reasons why it's just the name of the business, Cocoon. I'm trying to make the point. I really believe that a 20-inch high sign would solve the hardship. We can't go any bigger than that because of the structure of the building. It's a very narrow building. But as we go smaller, we keep on losing, even if we went 19 inches, we're losing 10 foot of visibility. It's 190 feet now.
I guess just real quick, I just want to make sure I heard you correctly. You were saying that in the industry standards, some factors to consider was both contrast, light, size, things like that. In the pictures, it shows a white sign against a dark gray backdrop. Is that contrast?
White on stone, absolutely. That's
And is that
contrast.
sign lit up? Is there lighting in that sign, or is it just a sign?
Well, it would be lit up at night. It's internally lit, yes.
Okay.
And I just wanted to add this one thing, because Chris Payton, the owner of Cocoon, had asked me to just mention this, and I think it's important. This sign is intended in its current size to complement the unique character of this special building. That's why we went up on that building twice in a bucket truck, 2 people. Very costly to do that. And we wanted to match the character of the patina, the copper that's on the roof, with the returns of the channel letters and the trim cap of the channel letters. We wanted to tie right into that building so it fit that building, and it does. It's a very special building, and the applicant has special concerns as a designer that the signage not be a typical sign as seen throughout Radnor Township. This is a very unique sign.
Well, when I look at the A5, from that distance, you can certainly see a sign that's up there, whether it's the one that you're proposing and apparently don't want to change, or one that you can make smaller. I mean, it's clearly, it sticks out, I'm not going to, it sticks out. I mean, I can't imagine you wouldn't be able to see that. Plus, you're going to have, I'm sure, like most modern businesses, you're going to have a GPS address that will help guide people to your place, and they will have had to make a decision to turn in here to get into the parking lot.
Yeah, A5 is coming off. That A5 is not coming off of Route 30, heading east.
Well, it's a picture looking across Route 30. You can see the cars and so on.
Yeah,
and so forth.
right. But if you were actually on Route 30 going east, it's a different,
Well, I mean,
it's a
I've
different
moved around here
scenario.
my entire life. I know what I would see if I'm driving down the road on Route 30 going towards the intersection of Sproul Road. And I would, you'd be able to see a sign up there. When it was a bank there, you could see a sign, and I think they had their sign down low. That was a long time ago, but it's, I mean, you're asking for relief from the zoning code, and we have to give the minimum relief if we're so inclined to grant to grant a variance. It has to be the minimum amount of relief necessary. And I think the message I was getting, and you should be getting from the board, is that there's an issue with the size of this sign sitting up at the top when you have to ask for a variance to get it there.
Well, if we were to
Or-
reduce it
or
to
small-
19 inches by 114 inches,
That would reduce the sign area by about 1.5 feet if we went 19, and that would still be consistent. The 114 in width and the 19 inches high would still be consistent with the design itself, as he was saying about, balance.
What are you saying, Nick? Now I'm confused.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I'm more
right now,
confused than usual.
the applicant had proposed a 20-inch by 120-inch width sign.
Yes.
My understanding is they're willing to do 19 inches in height by 114 inches, which reduces the sign area to 15.04 square feet.
Okay, now, thank you for that, because with all due respect to the witness, I was not getting that message, but now I do. Okay, so there has been a reduction from the sign, the size of the signage that's listed on A7.
and that's a direct ratio reduction of the logo.
And what would be the square foot if it was reduced by 2 inches, and it's that 108? So if it's 18 by 108, what's the square footage?
The square footage is 13.5 square feet.
Sir, do you know what the width of the two windows are that we're looking at there? And I don't know which exhibit that is. Just to give the board an idea of, if you reduce the width, how close are we getting to the width of the
So
windows?
this looks like the O to the O. The O to the O would be,
I vote for 18.
I mean, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know. Yeah,
I think each window is 36 inches from the inside ledge to the inside ledge, if my memory serves me correctly. And then the stone column between the two windows would add, I don't know, maybe 1.5 feet.
Yeah, they're not really quite 20 inches wide.
Building is such bullshit. To go with that building would also have to be wrought iron or something.
Well,
And it doesn't have to, just so the board understands, you don't have to do an up and down vote on whatever the applicant can amend their application and say this is what they're applying for, but the board can, just like you can put conditions on it, you can say, you can select one of the three options essentially between the 20-inch high, the 19-inch high, and the 18-inch high. Pick one of those, and that would be your motion, and with the corresponding widths, which are very important as well to the applicant, obviously. So, I don't want the board thinking it has to be an up and down vote based on what they're willing to do.
right. Charlie, you want to take a crack at it with a motion?
All right, so this is appeal 3.
This is Appeal 3230 with no, this isn't Joe Keza, sorry. So we are at Appeal 3228, applicant Cocoon Property located at 801 East Lancaster Ave, Zone C1 Commercial. The applicant seeks a variance of Section 280-122C of the code relating to the sign area and sign height. or I guess just the sign area, and the alternative applicant requests such relief consistent with exhibits and testimony. Oh, sorry. Applicant requests such other relief consistent with the exhibits and testimony.
And do you have a proposed height for your motion, and height and width?
Yes, I guess would be that 108, the 2 inches off the top and then 12 inches off the bottom.
So just so I'm clear, you're making a motion to grant relief, to grant the variance for a sign 18 by 108?
Correct.
No bigger than that?
No bigger.
Right. I'll second that.
For discussion?
I guess for me, the biggest thing is I like the idea of the windows being a reference point. I think if you account for the windows and that center column, you're probably at 90, 94 inches. And if you reduce the width, the sign is still wider than the windows, so I can understand aesthetically how the sign being as wide as the windows or smaller would be kind of not appropriate, but I think even with the recommended width, it's still appropriately sized for that window in that space. So I guess that would just be my 2 cents.
So I'm far more comfortable with a much smaller sign. I don't find the idea in this particular application that the size of the lettering really gets into an issue of visibility. This is a proposed office use that will have appointment-only appointments, meaning that before somebody comes, they're going to be told where the office is located. Certainly a description of the building will jump out at anybody traveling to go see the applicant in his office space. So in this particular case, the sign is more of a, the one is more of a billboard for the business as opposed to, keeping it in line with Radnor code. So certainly at 18 by 108, I'm far more comfortable with that size and based on what we've heard and what was presented tonight. So at that number, I'll be in favor.
Yeah, when I first looked at the picture, I thought it was not in keeping. I know you want to attract so your customers know where they're going. I know that. But Richard, I think made the touchstone comment that you described the building as they just look for the castle on the side of the road. I mean, it's going to stand out like a sore thumb. I mean, you can't miss this thing. It's really unique. And the sign, and I know you're worried about what can you see it from 250 feet away, 300 feet away. Yeah, I just don't see where you need a variance to achieve something like that because it just isn't. You can get your name on the building with less of a variance than what you're seeking, and that's why I'm in favor of the proposal in the motion. It's 120 by 18, and I think that's going to get the job done. And so I will support that. I will support that motion as it's been made.
Well, just to clarify, John, it's 18 by 108.
108, I'm sorry. Yeah, 18 by, I got about 30 numbers down here. 18 by 108. Yes. So I do support 18 by 108, yes.
So,
go ahead.
John, I was just going to say that this is more in line with Radnor's code. I also don't want to be a hindrance to a business coming in and operating here in Radnor, yet also being respectful of our code, and there's a reason that they're put in place. And also, a lot of people will be stopped at these intersections, so I think they'll be able to read it. So.
Was it graded an F, an E? It was an E.
Let's not go there.
All right, I'll call a vote.
I'm in favor.
Aye.
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 Motion
Okay.
carries.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
We're going to take a 5-minute break.
Okay. Yeah, John, this should be, I hope this is fast.
Okay.
We got some fast talkers tonight. What's that?
Were you doing a lot during the day?
I know, I actually took off
Yeah, I don't know how
today
you
and
handle
tomorrow.
it, doing all day and then coming here at night. That's a lot.
Luckily, I get a lot of vacation, and sometimes when I have my night hearings, I'll just take a day off vacation. Which I've been doing lately.
Good.